Sounds good.
Start with roll call, we'll start out with Liza.
All right, Liza Larson.
Janice Borgstrom first.
Just wanna pull your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Otherwise they won't hear.
Sure.
Oh my.
All right,
Liza.
Liza Larson.
Dan Egler.
Chris McCurran.
And
We'll look to see if there's any additions or corrections to the minutes from the previous meeting. Hearing none, we'll take a.
Move to approve.
a second.
Go on to our quarterly financial report. Any questions anybody has over that? We're just gonna do the quarterly financial report, if there's any questions.
And all revolving loans will be paid on time.
Yep, all loans are current.
No questions on those. We'll move on to our coordinator report.
Okay, so a couple of things on the coordinator report. The biggest one that I wanted to cover, I had the Dodge County EDA meeting in September. They're every other month. The biggest task I think that we have accomplished at that meeting, I think Rebecca, when she was here, had previously talked to you guys about how we were trying to push out surveys throughout the county to see what needs are unmet or what some of the county businesses are looking for in regards to services or support. We did get response on those surveys. However, the number of responses to the number of businesses we know we have in the county were very low. And overall, all of the responses came back in a positive manner that they do want some form of support from the county EDA, but their willingness to set aside time for a meeting was very low. I mean, who wants to add something more to their schedule? So I did a little bit more research on behalf of the county and presented the idea of having a county blog. So the EDA will be hosting a blog on the county's website. We're going to start posting after the first of the year. There are going to be monthly content posts with something educational related with regards to business support, you know, whether it's preparing a business plan, succession planning, things like that. The board is going to set the topics for the year in advance at our next meeting, hopefully. And then my goal is to have, in addition to those educational posts, try to get a post a month here or there on county happenings, so things going on in our communities, and things like that. That way we've got something drawing interest more so than just the educational component there. So that was the biggest thing that came from the Dodge County meeting. I also did want to update you guys, since last week when I sent the coordinator report out, the website, I have completed an inventory form and listing page. So anybody who has properties available that they would like to list on our city website, the form is now out there for them to complete. We had our first external user complete that this morning, so I will then create a listing to add to the listing page for that, and I'm also working on getting a listing page put together for our 2 lots downtown. So those are there right now. There's obviously nothing on the listings page since we have to get that up and going, but it's at least there. And that's all I had on that. Any questions at all?
Yes, on the business potential visits.
Yep.
Any update on Culligan? Are we retaining them, or?
Yes, so they're looking to expand their current location. They will not be, you know, taking any of their business out of any other communities. They're just looking to grow the one here in town. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is Culligan's timeline on that?
That, I haven't had the initial conversation with them. That's been had with a couple of the other city staff members, and I don't know that they've given us that timeline on that.
And what does that mean they're looking to expand there?
They're gonna grow their facility
For
to be able to
store
service
more product
Mhm.
or have more availability for the general public?
Well, they're just,
I
that
mean,
way
their
they can grow their
offices or
services.
warehouse?
It'll probably be warehouse or a combination of the two.
Okay.
That they haven't shared their specifics with us, so.
And what's the Tim Walz listening tour discussion?
That will be, I have that, next on the agenda, actually.
Oh.
A couple weeks ago, when I was in Blooming Prairie, Tim Walz's staff came, and made a stop as part of their listening tour. And what they were there talking to us about was, the Small Town and Regional Vitality Investment Act, of 2018. It's a bill that Tim Walz would ideally like to pass, that would benefit rural communities like ours that we are in. They want to create a new investment initiative by sharing federal revenues directly with local governments to address major challenges facing their communities, while tying those decisions to the region's long-term strategic framework. So essentially what ideally they would like to do if this bill is passed, the counties would have to request the federal funds that would likely go through like the USDA or some other agency, and then it would be at the county's discretion on how to provide those funds to its communities, and they're the ones who would kind of set the stage for, is it going to be used for infrastructure, is it going to be used for, you know, housing redevelopment, or the projects. It's very open-ended on what that is. So this is essentially setting the stage because we know Mr. Walz is, after election, not going to be holding his position anymore. And what they were looking to get out of it is resolutions of support. That way, as they have to pass on this torch, it doesn't just burn out. There's something holding the next person's feet to the fire, I guess you could say, on trying to keep things going to see if this can get accomplished. So, essentially, I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, because it could directly impact somewhere down the line, you know, our community. So, I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. Nancy did draft a resolution that I've also included in your packet, should you choose or decide that this is a good idea and choose to recommend it to City Council for approval.
I think it's a good idea. It's basically a recommendation of the council to say we'd be in support of it. It doesn't cost us anything. It just says if the county can get some money, that we'd be interested in putting it toward something to make it really better.
Yep, I agree.
You need to vote on it, or do we just?
Yeah, probably.
Is it a resolution from the EDA or from the council?
It'd be the EDA recommending to the council to approve it.
And where's
As
that?
economic, we're just recommend that they would entertain approving it.
Chris has made the motion, do we have a second, then we'll send this forward to council?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That's a really good idea, we can get some funding.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what do we got next? That was our initiative resolution, business facade improvement.
So everybody will have a copy of the program guidelines. I don't know if all of you have had the opportunity to review them through email. I didn't know if it would be a good idea to kind of go through section by section. I've kind of made some additional notes wanting to get your guys' input as well. So if you guys want to just take a look at it and kind of tell me your initial thoughts on it.
I think you did a very good job putting together, you know, what's it for, why do we want to do it? what qualifies, what doesn't qualify, how you're gonna evaluate the criteria.
It's really good.
Good.
I can't, you said you had some ideas, I didn't.
Yeah, so I made a couple of changes since I had sent it to you and Chris originally. Under the duration section, I said that the program will accept applications from January 1st, 2019 to November 18th. That I think is fine, just because then we at least have time to review at the December meeting for any final projects. But I added, that unless approved by the EDA, all projects must be completed with submitted invoices within 6 months. So, to me, that way things don't drag on and we don't allocate funds for somebody who's never going to use them, and at least makes them have to act. And if they need further time, then they're going to have to, you know,
Yeah.
request that. So I just wanted to make sure that was fine, that I added that. I also sent this to Ron and Chris and Joya for kind of their guidance on it. And the one question that was raised in their reviews is for the matching grant portion. I put up to $2,000 per building. Is everyone okay for one? Is everyone okay with that amount? Do you think it needs to be higher, lower?
I'm okay with it, I mean, this is gonna be our first try
Right.
until we know. And I ain't sure what it costs for updates, but it's a good start, I mean, it's, well, all right, I know.
I do know what it costs to update the front of your building.
But I mean,
It depends on the size of the building and what you're doing to it. I mean, for two with its matching, so that's a $4,000 project. If you were looking for 50/50 participation, at $4,000 you can paint the front of most buildings. You could update some of the signage. You could
do some tuck pointing.
You can't put stacked stone in the arches for that.
No.
I know that.
Unless you're gonna do it yourself.
Right, yeah, which wasn't gonna happen.
But awnings and canopies, might be a little more than that, but.
Never done awnings, so I don't.
Depends on the width of your
Width
building.
of
Yeah, how big the building is, yeah.
And what you put on it for.
But is it my question is, you know, do we think this is enough to incentivize somebody to take action to improve or do upkeep or whatever, that they otherwise would be pushing off? I mean, I guess I think it is, but I don't own a building on Main Street, so I don't.
Or anywhere.
Or, yeah, on my house, but,
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if, say this program would have been available 6 months ago, it'd be worth it, right? I mean, even though the project that we did was significantly more than that,
It's still.
Yeah.
still
would've helped a
something that
little.
wasn't, that, you know.
Been $2,000.
It would've been $2,000, you would have
Yeah.
to spend or borrow or whatever, so, yeah, no, I think it's a good start. We'll find out. If nobody applies for it, and we hear why, you know, hey, this program is available, you own some buildings that might need some upgrade or not, why didn't you apply for it, you know?
Then we'll
Or it
know.
wasn't enough.
Yep.
You know, the
Is
next
it
year.
possible to have two projects on one building?
So we have, how I have it written here is that it is per building, $2,000 per building. So it doesn't matter if they have one project or four going on at the same time, that one building would get $2,000.
Just so there was more to share throughout the, otherwise somebody's gonna say, I got 5 projects, so I'm at $10,000.
Well, you'd have to justify that you had 5 projects.
Right.
And you could have.
You could.
You know, you could have, windows, which would be, you know, $4,000. You could have an awning, which could be $4,000.
But you can apply from year to year too, instead of, this way you can spread it out to more businesses in the first year. Some business might just put windows in.
This says per building, it doesn't say per building per year, just that per building.
So that's a good question, though. I mean, so the intent is $2 per building, is the way this is written, $2,000 per building.
Mhm.
So say in February I apply and say I'm gonna put my windows in, and I do, I finish that. And then in July I come back and say, hey, now I'm gonna update the awning, and come back for the same building. It's a separate project, 'cause I did it
Or even the
different parts
next
of the year.
January.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Your
so.
building is done.
Can you do
can't
more
get
than one
this
project
again.
per year per building? Would be, I mean,
Well, I could, even in different years.
right.
So you get this project
Done this year, and 2 years from now, you
and
wanna do another
A
project.
year from now, you say, hey, I'll wait and do that next year because I wanna apply again.
And just do $2,000 per building per year, so the
Yeah.
next year you can come back and apply for it again, the year
Right.
after they can apply for it again.
Yeah.
Can't do that, what I was talking about, I could paint in January, the windows in April, put an awning in
Oh, yeah.
August, and also now I've got $6,000.
Right. I mean, limit it to the per building per year.
Per year.
Right.
Where you're not,
I'll put that in there. And the other thing too, which this is on the second page, but in the evaluation criteria, I have previous or concurrent usage of other EDA or city funds. So essentially, if, I don't know if the word abuser is the right word to use, but somebody who is a repetitive user of it or wants to
Mhm.
constantly do it, it's at the EDA's discretion to do that. Just because they apply doesn't necessarily mean the board has to fund it. So say they've had 2 or 3 projects, well, that could potentially be $6,000 that one individual is then using. And if there's, if you want it to go further, it's at that point the EDA could say, you know what, unfortunately, we're gonna decline just due to the usage, of program funds previously or something like that. So, I'll add the per year on there.
would you add calendar or fiscal? I mean, which would you like? I would think it would be fiscal.
Well, based on the, well, I guess maybe this would change our program acceptance applications, because right now we're accepting applications from the 1st of 2019 to November 18th, so it would be the calendar year.
Mhm.
Did you not look for this program to go beyond 1 year?
No, I think
No.
it's renewable each year, we'll fund it
11
each year.
months.
So I think our fiscal year is the same, because our budget year is the calendar year.
Calendar
So I think it'd be the
So it'd be the
same.
same.
I see what you're saying,
Yeah.
I understand what you're getting at.
Okay. I'll just make sure they know that.
Because we allocated 20,000 for the 2019 budget year.
Mhm.
Next year in the fall, we'll know if or how much we'll do for 20 based on the success, or we do a different program.
Or if there's funding available.
If nobody applies for the money, does the city want back?
Well, I think we designated that for EDA programs, the EDA chose this
Oh.
program and the council will
So
look
it's
at this.
just general?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then another thing I added, since you reviewed, Dan, under eligible properties, I did say that the property must not have any outstanding obligations with the city or delinquent taxes. I
Oh,
do think,
yeah.
I added that, after the fact. Does everybody feel like for the grant amount, do you feel like the requirements associated with it are okay, or do you feel like there's too many requirements?
Well, I guess just looking at it, required application documentation, project plans. Not every project requires plans. We just did the front of our building, we didn't have any plans. We just went to each of the contractors, they came back maybe with their bid, and we had samples of the product. We didn't really have plans,
Maybe
because
you
it
could
didn't need to be engineered, it didn't have to
Mhm.
have plans, so.
Couldn't it be or
Yeah, something of.
instead of and?
I mean, I don't know, I guess when I think of project plans, I don't know if I need, like, engineering specs, but I mean, if you wrote down paint facade, stacked stone on our.
Sure, yeah,
and
so
that-
just
that
some
would
kind
be
of
like a
plan, what your plan is, doesn't necessarily need
Yeah.
to be
Doesn't have to
engineered.
be.
I just need plans in my, the hair on the back of my neck.
Blueprint is what you're
saying, oh, we got
Yeah.
the
Another
architect for
expense.
50 grand.
Yeah, no, I guess I was thinking, like, if they wanted to write it down and, give us a Xerox copy of a handwritten note on.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But we'd have to somehow write that so they understand that. Instead of saying
I
plans
think
or
if you said
drawings.
plans or drawing
Drawings
sketches.
or, okay.
Because there's some projects that might require some engineering. Yeah, if you're gonna take the whole front of the building off and have it all repoured and whatever else, that's gonna, building like that'll be taken out.
Okay, so I'll change that to or.
I was wondering on down under eligible properties, under please note, as far as outstanding obligations with the city, do we mean, like, they're back on their.
So if they have any
their
past due
past
payments
dues
with
on-
the cities, whether
Okay.
it's like
Utilities.
utilities
Yeah.
or property taxes,
Taxes,
whatever.
Cause I guess when I think of outstanding obligations, if they have a loan with us at the EDA, but it's current, that would be an outstanding obligation.
That's why I
potentially.
tried to make sure it said with the city, because I
Yes.
did run into this. When I first typed it out, I was like, it said any outstanding obligations. Well, from a lending background,
Yeah.
I took that as a loan obligation with
Sure.
the bank. So then that's why I re-added with the city.
Would-
Does it need to be clear?
I guess I would
on that?
say maybe, whether it's delinquent or, I don't know, defaulted, or something that basically says they're not meeting whatever obligation or
It must
current
be
with their
current.
obligations. They gotta be current on all obligations with the city, including taxes.
And assessments.
Yeah.
Utilities, assessments. But yeah, cause they could, just like with a bank, they could have a loan with us, like if, Millwork decided to, I think we have a loan with Millwork, if they decided to come, cause they wanted to do something on the front of their building, they'd technically have an outstanding obligation, the loan, but it's
Mhm.
current, so then we have a conflict.
Okay. Alright, I'll adjust that then too. Anything else on the first page at all? The only thing on the second page that I wanted to ask, for the painting of a building's exterior, does the color need to be approved, or do you not care if somebody paints a fluorescent orange
It's your building.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to ask that question, that way if something came along and it was,
Well, I think I mean, we have the spot, down below where under evaluation criteria, there's aesthetic improvement to the area and the overall impact to the community. So I mean, if they're gonna like paint a giant swastika on the front of their building, we'd take a look at that and be like, that's a negative overall impact on the community and degrades the aesthetic to the area, we're gonna turn this one down.
easy enough. Perfect. Those were the only notes that I had, unless anybody else had any additions or revisions to add to what had already been completed.
I think it looks great. We need to,
Do you wanna approve it now, or do you want me to put a final draft together with those changes and approve it at next meeting?
could we just approve it with
With-
those?
with the notes added, I
changes,
think.
Yeah.
and we can go,
Okay.
go live even sooner.
I'll make it, then we can get it to the next council.
Then we get it to the next
Yeah.
council meeting for their approval.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes, unanimous. Now, on to policy and procedures manual update.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if you guys have time to look over this or not, and this can be taken home and reviewed by everybody, and we can rediscuss it at our next meeting. I was going through this policy procedures manual, and a couple of things stuck out to me, so I wanted to bring it to your attention and, see if, maybe some revisions would be appropriate. On the first page, which is the meetings page, when reviewing, one of the things that stuck out to me, it says that a financial report showing fund and loan balances would be provided for the previous month. We, have not been doing that monthly. Is that something you would like to revert back to, or can we make an adjustment to say that that would be quarterly?
I'm okay with quarterly.
I'm okay with quarterly.
Okay.
We could change that.
Okay. And then on the land sales section of it, which is the next page, at the bottom, under staff responsibilities, it states, that the coordinator shall maintain, the property through Location One services on, Minnesota Deeds website. I would recommend that that be removed. That's only for, shovel-ready properties, none of which we have here in the community, so, I just thought that that should just be taken out.
kind of a broader question
Yeah.
regarding going through the subsidy programs. I'm just thinking, you know, this probably is worth probably a closer look than I think we would be able to give it at like a full-on board meeting.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, should we, I mean, could we have just like an ad hoc two-person committee that would work more direct with you on going through so that we could kind of get these, you know, go ahead, give this, I think, the amount of detail that it probably requires?
Yeah, that's totally up to you guys. I'm open. I did make a number of notes, and I would like to point them out to you today, just
Yeah,
so that way if we
absolutely.
do have those further conversations, you guys can at least have more time to look at what I was kind of seeing. So would you guys prefer to do that, or how would you?
I'd maybe run through what you see.
Okay.
And then it's probably not a bad idea to have a couple of us, I would volunteer to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do it too.
And if we get together sometime and go over those proposals, we'll bring it back next meeting and have a full discussion on that.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good. On the next page too, the one question I did want to run by, it says, when it comes to land, that the coordinator should be the initial contact for all sales on, city-owned land. That any contact made with other officials or staff members should be immediately passed on to the coordinator, and no other official or staff member shall have the authority or the responsibility to have those conversations, to discuss the terms and conditions of sales. Do you want that to remain as it is? I know a lot of times, you know, people have discussions with Teresa on things and stuff like that. I didn't know if you wanted it to be only the coordinator's responsibility, or if you wanted to have some other involvement in that.
Just off the top of my head, that might be difficult if you're only here 1 or 2 days a week.
Right.
And if somebody comes in on Monday and wants to discuss that, we should have somebody available that can discuss it.
Right.
So that'd be something we could talk about, of how we wanna handle that, but say it's just you, it's
Yeah.
not practical.
Yeah,
You know,
I didn't, I saw that and I was like, I'm gonna ask, because I feel like that needs to be reviewed a little bit. So that was another one that stuck out. And then on page 5, up at the top, it says, use of sale proceeds. In the very last section of that, it said, fund either of the revolving loan funds. And this is what caught my eye to begin with when I started to look at this. According to Nancy and Teresa, there are no designations for loan funds. There is a loan fund, not 2 loan funds. So, that I feel like should be revised to say from the revolving loan fund. And then that brings me to page 6, where the revolving loan fund discussion actually starts. It says that there are 2 revolving loan funds, a commercial incentive and improvement revolving loan fund, and a business expansion or job creation revolving loan fund.
We only have one.
Right. So this kind of contradicts what's actually going on. So this is probably beyond those little random things I found at the beginning, this is my biggest, concern is the back of this, and coming up with what we want our revolving loan funds to focus on, and what guidelines need to be followed for that. I don't see why we can't just combine the 2 and make
Simplify
something
it.
work there, but that's what I would like to, that was the one thing that I had seen that I was kind of concerned about. And then I also had another question for you guys, as you kind of look at it. I know this says that the remaining 40% can, that would be considered someone's gap, could be provided through the revolving loan fund. I don't see anything on the limitation of an amount. What if somebody came in and their 40% was $100,000? Would you be willing to lend that full amount, or should there be some form of cap on that?
A lot of it debates is too on available funds,
Right.
Yeah.
because sometimes we don't have 100.
Right.
And then the second line there, it says may be provided.
Mhm.
Right, keep it open-ended enough to
Mhm.
say that we aren't able to provide the whole amount without creating.
I mean, I guess kind of does, just by language, but I can see where somebody would say, well, it says,
Right.
40, so maybe we need to just tighten up the language a little bit to be
Mhm.
more clear that, yeah, it's
That's
tough to
what
put a
it's-
dollar amount on it, because
Well, you
if
could
you had a
say-
worthwhile project that was gonna
Right.
employ an extra 40 people in
You
town,
could
we
say
might wanna.
may be provided if funds are available.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because that is part of it, there is no funds available.
Okay. Would you like me to make a revised draft, and try and change some things around, specifically on the revolving loan fund section and making a couple of those minor corrections and send it out to everybody? And then after review, we can set a meeting, or how would you like to proceed with that then?
If we have the subcommittee set up with Chris Town and you, I think it would be best that you three go through it.
Perfect.
And then bring it back to for us to
Okay.
discuss and approve. It's just gonna, I think would be the best
Yeah.
benefit.
Mhm.
That's why you have to discuss.
That's, yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Okay.
And then, I'm not gonna put a timeline on it, 'cause I don't know your guys' schedule, but in the next couple months would be nice. Depends on schedules. I'll leave that open-ended to you.
Okay.
But if we don't have it by next month, at least an update, kind of where we're at. Okay.
Yep.
We'll leave it at that, we'll go on to coffee break concept.
Yeah, so one thing ever since Marty had come and done that downtown revitalization, or the downtown little study thing that he had done, Teresa and I had been talking about what things could be done that would be easy enough to kind of get our business community in town a little more familiar with one another and provide maybe a networking opportunity. So her and I were talking and kind of came up with a coffee break concept. So whether it's once a month or every other week or once a quarter, whatever, to pick a location and like 10 a.m. on a Thursday, provide a coffee break that business people can just, the business community can come and use it as a networking opportunity, get to know one another, get to know the EDA, give us an opportunity to show people the things that we can offer them, and show that we are there to provide that support and sense of community. So that was something that her and I had been talking about that we thought might be a kind of decent idea in the future if we do want to have more engagement with the business community as an option. So she just wanted me to make sure to present that to you guys and get your thoughts on it, and if it's something that should be further pursued, or
If you could get various businesses to host
Host
the
it.
meeting
Yep.
and not have it always at 10 in the morning, maybe 3 in the afternoon,
Or
because
5, or
not everybody has 10 in the morning available,
Yep.
some are busy.
some like evening.
Or some could get out at 5, for.
Well, change it up from month to month.
And try it.
okay.
And would you be thinking of, get the people who show up together, would you give some type of quick EDA update?
We could easily
You
do
just
that.
say, here's what's going on in town, here's what we got coming and going, remember, here's our revolving loan fund, how it works, here's our facade improvement. Just to throw it up, just a quick 1 minute
Yeah.
for the EDA, and then.
We can easily do that. I mean, then at least they're aware of what's going on, and.
And then they might share it with other people
Right.
that weren't available, that they talked to.
Yeah.
The inventory that's on the website.
Yep.
Hey, here's some lots that are available, some space for rent available, some,
You can have a one-page sheet.
just a little quick update that might spur some conversation with people too, to say, oh, I didn't know we could put that on there, I've got an apartment for rent too, or whatever.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep, I think that would be simple enough, and maybe what we look to do is, Teresa and I can talk a little bit and see, where we can host it for, like, and maybe just start in January, that way it's after the first of the year, because I know November, December gets kind of hectic and people are here, there, and everywhere, and then we can just start it going after the first of the year.
And then we might have our facade program finalized through council, unless you want, could we try one in December if we have this finalized, just to get the info out there to get people thinking about it.
Right.
Because we want to start January 1st with a new program, so we
Right.
have a little, get to try it on a December.
Right. I can look at the schedule and then kind of shoot an email out to everybody and get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, if we had it early enough in December.
Yeah,
before
it might,
It might be all
The
right.
crunch is on.
Yeah.
it might spark some interest.
And also to the chamber, Samantha, she's been good with Facebook postings, so she could post it on the chamber too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all out there to everybody.
Spread the word,
Mhm,
makes it a lot easier to use
absolutely.
social media, so, perfect. Well, I'll do some more research and I'll kind of keep you guys posted on that then. We just thought it would be a good idea to engage with people and let them know
Yeah.
that we're
Mhm.
here and, that they can come to us with stuff, because I think a lot of people don't have any idea, so.
Welcome in and see.
Exactly, and I think during the day too is a good time, because a lot of people can't meet at night either, so it's, flip it around and, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have any other business?
I was wondering, is it manufacturers week?
It is Manufacturers Week this week. Yep. I don't know of any tours going on here in Casson, but I do know, Southeast Service Cooperative has got students from here, there, and everywhere going all over our region for some tours. Next year, I think, it would be our goal to have the CEDA communities more interconnected, so we can utilize our own schools and our own manufacturers, and get some tours going that way too, so hopefully we can get more involvement in our communities. But right now, what they're doing is a pilot, so when they picked their schools, I'm not sure how they went about getting the schools and the businesses they did, but, they wanted to give it a test run just because it's kind of a
Well,
major.
what is Manufacturers Week?
It's a national thing, Minnesota, it's like a month-long, celebration of the manufacturers, I guess you could say.
The month of October?
Yep, and then this week is where they do their primary activities. Minnesota has designated this week, to recognize the Minnesota manufacturers for the work that they're doing. And this year, a group has found it very important to get students into those manufacturing plants, to get them to realize that the jobs aren't necessarily always what they think of when they are sitting on the outside, to show them that there are other career paths and opportunities that may not necessarily require a four-year degree, along with companies who are willing to provide them the education that they need to be successful at what they do. So, that's what's going on right now. I think roughly 300 students in this pilot program get to tour different manufacturers. I was just over in Dodge Center this morning, at a tour with about 40 students, from Stewartville who were touring their McNelia steel plant. So, and then they got to go to another manufacturer, I don't know what other community they were going to today, but, to kind of see what they get to do with those facilities and maybe something that would strike their interest. So.
Some students will be interested, and some are gonna go, day off from school.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They did a very good job with that group, and I'm assuming all schools did it, but it's all the kids that are in shop or welding or
Mhm.
those focused courses, they kept it relevant to them. So that was good too, because
Yeah.
at least then you didn't have kids just straying and wandering off and not having any care, so.
I know KM has a great new shop and
Yeah.
lots of equipment that could go into manufacturing, but does Casson have manufacturing? I mean, I know
Couple
we have
smaller shop
somebody
ones.
making, cupboards.
Yeah,
Right.
Millwork does, and, yeah, there's a few, but not a lot,
Not a
because we're
lot.
kind of industry poor, so.
mean, I guess I don't know, motion that the EDA makes a statement of recognition of our local manufacturers. Just say that we support them and think that what they're doing in our community is important.
Absolutely.
That's a motion.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Something they send out on the website.
Yeah.
Items for November EDA meetings. Any specific items anybody needs or would like to see?
These policy and program updates.
Yeah, probably get.
Yep. And then, maybe scheduling, if we're going ahead on the coffee break in December, we should probably get that scheduled.
Yeah, kind of maybe some dates, and then
Yeah.
it'd almost be helpful too, just somebody who scheduled appointments way out. If we did this coffee break thing, we're gonna try it for a year, to commit to it for a year and say, here's the dates.
Yeah,
And
come
have
up with
it-
a calendar.
Come up with a calendar for the year, that way I know, I can't make February, but hey, March, I can probably work
Yeah.
that off and make it, or.
Yep.
Good idea.
Versus month to month, you don't know.
Yep.
Which is too hard to.
And if we can get it on our calendar for the year, then I'm, just speaking for myself, I'd be more
Yeah.
likely to attend more of them if I could plan for it.
Mhm.
Yep,
Yep.
I agree. That's what's tough with the chamber when they make things, it's like, whoop, let's do it. Like, oh, all right, so.
And that's one thing, and I know trying to figure out what time works best for people, like, it's gonna be trial and error, but
Yeah.
almost
those-
keeping it consistent at one time, because if you say it's the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. of every month, it's something that just becomes kind of more of a habit than anything.
It also becomes something that somebody says, I can never go to that.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I think you're leaving out people without being a little more flexible.
Yeah, no, I'm just, yeah, no, I think we should try it, but.
If you pick an AM one, then you pick a PM one.
Yeah,
That's what-
I could see having two.
Yeah.
Every
No.
other month.
Every other month.
or
AM,
something,
PM,
but-
yep.
At
Never
least
satisfy
try it, see how it
everyone.
goes.
Yeah,
and we
and if you don't get anybody that comes in the PM, then switch.
Flex
it.
around, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds good, okay. Anything else additional for next month beyond, looking over the policy and procedures manual and the setting a calendar for the coffee break stuff?
Maybe, we can all check the website, but just what the listings are that we would have available.
Yeah.
That way we could.
Yep.
That's right, yeah.
Yep. I'll send you guys a link to the website too, once I get those up and running. That way you guys can see the quick links and click into them and kind of see how they function too. I tried to avoid as many drop downs as I could, so I have them all embedded in the main EDA page just so people didn't have to go here, there, and everywhere, so.
Okay.
November 16th.
That's election day,
That's what.
but it shows,
There's no conflict.
there's no conflict here that I know. I was thinking the same thing, but I'm like,
What's that?
the next
Next
meeting's
meeting.
on election day, but,
Tuesday.
but there's,
None of us are.
none of us are election judges. So, it
Yeah,
should,
that's fine.
so, yeah, so I kinda was thinking the same thing, so I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, that is all, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
Tom, do you wanna try to schedule something now?
Yeah, let's do that right now.
Yeah.
Which days are money?
Mondays and Fridays.
I'm remodeling a bathroom, so.